Morning, everybody. Welcome to this week's Coffee with Chris live from sunny Central Florida, where we grab a mug, a jug, a carafe, or a flask of your favorite jitter juice, and we talk about Amazon FBA news and happenings. Welcome to this week's show. It's Friday, July 9th, and I hope you guys all had a great, fantastic week. Do me a huge solid if you're here. Please like the video, smash that like button for the Facebook and YouTube algorithms, as it helps gets this video in front of just a few more eyeballs. Mac, Tracy, Maria, Chris, Rita, Marianne, it's great to see you all this Friday morning. Last week in my weekly email, I asked folks to hit the reply button and let me know what was good and what they wanted more of, what was bad, what could be worked on. And one of the things that came to the top of the list was more reseller-focused information. And so we're going to try to do that a little bit more starting this week. And a matter of fact, we are going into what is the second largest season of the year. And I know a lot of Amazon sellers already know this. But there are a lot of Amazon sellers who don't. Of course, we know that the biggest season of the year is Q4. We've got Thanksgiving, we've got Halloween, we've got Christmas. The average spend for those holidays is massive. Of course, we came out of Mother's Day and Father's Day. Heck, I'm not even sure I know of the statistics for Father's Day, but I know the statistics for Mother's Day, where the average person spends about $180 on Mother's Day. However, we are just coming into back to school season. It's not quite hit the apex yet, but we're getting there. Matter of fact, you might remember back on Prime Day, I reported that 600,000 backpacks were sold. Well, I wanted to share a couple of statistics and a few ways that you can actually go out and take a look and see what people are looking for, what might be trending, and also how to figure, just let Amazon tell you what to sell. So a couple of statistics. College, 19.6 million kids are enrolled for college. And that number may be a little bit higher, a little bit lower. Those are numbers based on the National Retail Federation. K through 12, there are 56.4 million kids enrolled in school. The average spending per family in K through 12 is $789.49. That pales only in comparison to Q4 spending, where the average spending is about $989 per family. For college kids, that number is a little bit higher. The number is actually $1,059.20 per family in back-to-school spending for the average college kid. That equates to $33.9 billion being spent for K through 12. Okay, $33.9 billion, $34 billion being spent on back-to-school supplies, clothing, shoes, electronics, etc. Okay. Now, 55% of those families buying back-to-school supplies for K through 12 and rising. This number is actually from 2020, so this number is actually going up a little bit. But 55% of those families plan to buy online. All right. Amazon, of course, going to get the brunt of that. Walmart in a close second. College age spending is actually $67.7 billion in back to school spending. And 43% and rising of those people are going to be buying online. So it is a massive, massive opportunity. And we're in the midst of it right now, although not at the actual apex. I want to go over a few more statistics that are helpful to know so you can decide where you want to focus your energy. For K through 12 back to school, school supplies is, of course, going to be shopped for by 95% of families. Some of them may have things left over from last year. I know when I was a kid, my dad always made us save the things that we could from last year to bring them over into the next year. I've tried that with my own son, and so much of it gets lost that it's a losing battle. So I don't do that any longer. 93% of families plan on spending money on clothing and accessories. Clothing and accessories. 90% of families plan on spending money on shoes, and 63% plan on spending money on electronics. This is going to be a total, or let me hit a little bit more here. For college age kids, 89% of families plan on spending for school supplies. 79% plan on spending money for personal care. Another 77% plan on spending for clothing and accessories. Here's one that's interesting. 75% of college age kids and their families plan on spending money on food items. Okay. So you're going to want to go and look for those college care packages in the grocery section, how you might be able to mimic those, etc. 73% plan on spending on shoes. 60% plan on spending for collegiate brand gear. 60% on electronics. 51% on furnishings. And then 44% plan on spending gift cards. The total combined planned spending for back to school and back to college shoppers in this year is about $101.6 billion, billion with a B. Half of Jeff Bezos' net worth is going to be spent on back to school products. Now, I want to show you guys something. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here, which I don't often do. If we look at the term school supplies on Google Trends, we can see that there is an uptick starting in June to July to the 1st of July, and now through July 10th. So the uptick is happening. If you're not already sourcing, then you should be. Okay, whether you're going to send these into FBA or you want to merchant fulfill back to school products, don't sleep on merchant fulfilling, especially this year. What you're going to notice, though, is that the apex seems to be around August 2nd, that first week of August. So there's not much time left to be able to take advantage of the apex of this season. And then, of course, it starts to slide down a little bit. Still money to be made back over here, okay? But now is the time. And of course, like we said, don't sleep on merchant fulfilling, all right? And make sure that you're getting things into FBA as you can, all right? And as they allow. Now, is this a fluke? No, it's not, because if we go look at back to school supplies list, we can see that the trend happens every single year around the same time, okay? We go to back to school supply list right here. August 4 through 10 of 2019. That's when it was at its apex. 2020 was a little bit different because schools were not really in session. So we can see that the interest in back to school supply list was not nearly as high last year. But I expect with in-person schooling coming back that this is going to go back up this year. And then if we look at one more trend I looked at, this one is school supplies for college. Well, you can see that it's just a little bit later, okay? It's August 9 through 15 last year. If we actually go out and look over the past 5 years, we can see that that trend stays pretty consistent August 4 through 10 and August 12 through 18, okay? So the trend is a little bit later than the kids who are going back to regular school, but it's still something that you can make some money on. Now, this is a tool, if you've never heard of Google Trends, where you can actually go in and use search terms and look for items that are trending or that have trended and might have seasonal peaks on them. This can be a great place to go and look for ideas. Start looking for things that go along with school supplies. Start looking for, binder paper, binders, etc., and so on. And you're going to find out what might the season be coming for, okay? Matter of fact, if you scroll down just a little bit, you can look at related queries. Free school supplies. What school supplies do I need for college? We go back to regular school supplies, and we can see school supplies, clip art, discount school supplies, Kaplan school supplies, etc., and so on. So there's all these little niches inside of the school supplies mega niche that you could really get into if you were really interested. All right, and Google Trends is a great place for that. And then, of course, you can go over to Amazon and just allow Amazon to do kind of what Target is good at. I took my wife out on a date night last night. We went to dinner, and then I said to her, I said, you know what? We had a great dinner. Let's go to Target and let Target tell us what to buy. It's, of course, one of my wife's favorite activities, allowing Target to speak to her inner shopper. And you can allow Amazon to do the same thing. Just go start with an easy keyword, something like school supply or school supplies. And then you're going to happen across things like this, where you can see, oh, okay, this is really coming into its own season. We can see that trend is starting to trend downward or trend for the better in terms of sales. We can see that the price has actually come up from last school season. Okay, so inflation is hitting the school supplies niche already. And then just start looking down these rabbit trails. You're going to see frequently bought together. You're going to see featured items that you may like, and you're going to be able to find lots and lots of other products. The other thing you can do is you can allow Amazon to tell you what people are looking for with the auto fill in the search bar. Okay, so if we type in school and space, well, we've got school supplies, and oh, there's a dirty one: school backpack, school uniform, school supplies. Okay, type in A and hit space. We've got school accessories. All right, all of these things are autofill in the search terms, and people are obviously looking for them, or Amazon would not autofill those. Okay, so something to take a look for. All right, so that's the little primer for back to school season this year, and then we've got some other news coming. So next up, I want to talk a little bit about a couple of updates that Amazon issued. Number one, there was a product quality update for Epson products that seemed to be big enough that Amazon thought that they should issue a news bulletin for Amazon sellers. And of course, to improve the customer and seller experience, Amazon periodically reviews complaints from buyers on Amazon. And in a recent analysis, they found that many buyers perceive Epson products that they've purchased are either used or are different than advertised on the product detail page. So if you do sell Epson products in the home or office, or in the office or home improvement categories, Amazon suggests you should visit the preventing product condition issues and the product detail help pages, just to make sure that things are up to snuff. All right. That's the first time it's the first time I recall them actually calling one particular brand out. So it must be pretty widespread. Next up, there's a reminder. Now, we talked about this back in January or early February, but the Payment Service Provider Program, which was launched on February 1 of 2021, and of course, it's to enhance the detection and prevention of fraud and potential bad actors on Amazon, has been in place. But starting July 15th, if you use a payment service provider, so not Chase or Bank of America or Wells Fargo or any of those banks that you might regularly use, but if you use a third-party payment service provider to transfer that money to Amazon, you have to make sure that they are part of the participating list of PSPs, or Amazon will stop paying you. All right. Now, I would imagine that this is really not going to affect most of the folks who are here watching, but there are going to be a few people out there who this might affect. Next up, I want to talk a little bit about, and we've talked about a little bit about this before, but Amazon is continuing their crackdown on Chinese sellers. Amazon suspended hundreds of top Chinese sellers over the past 2 months. And it just seems like they're really just now enforcing the rules for policy violations like manipulating customer reviews, et cetera, and so on. A couple of the major brands that were swept up were MPOW and Aukey at the end of April. Now, after talking to somebody who I believe is in the know about this kind of stuff and how things happen, I know that it's probably not really that big of a deal. As a matter of fact, if we go look up MPOW and Aukey on Amazon right now, we can see that those brands are still there because those Chinese sellers have lawyers, they have backup accounts on other backup accounts, and they're able to get their items in and out, or out and then back in really, really quickly. But it is interesting to see Amazon actually take action on these. I don't know what they can actually do, although it does say that some sellers have actually gone bankrupt over this. So maybe this shot heard around the world will actually make people act a little bit more on the up and up and create a little bit more of a level playing field. I also might be wearing rose-colored glasses. Next up, I want to talk a little bit about what happened this past week. As you might know, our overlord, Jeff Bezos, has stepped down as CEO of Amazon, and a new overlord has taken his place, a man by the name of Andy Jassy. Andy Jassy's been at Amazon for 20 some odd years, ever since it was started. And Jeff stepped down on the date that he incorporated Amazon. He incorporated Amazon on July 5th, 1994, and he stepped down on July 5th, 2021. But as I was doing a little bit of research, I noticed, I found an article that had some interesting statistics about Jeff Bezos's time. Now, number one is Amazon sales have grown over 772,000 times from 1995 to 2020. In 1995, their gross merchandise volume was 511,000. Of course, their gross merchandise volume in 2020 was 386 billion. Roughly equivalent to the GDP of Argentina. Of course, online third-party sellers and web services have grown into their own massive revenue sources. Amazon says third-party small businesses sell more than half of the stuff in its marketplace. Amazon's footprint has expanded from one single office in Seattle. As a matter of fact, they made desks out of doors rather than going and buying new desks, to now they've got 475 million square feet of space. That's more than 8,246 football fields worth of office space, fulfillment centers, data centers, physical stores, and more. More than 1.3 million people are employed by Amazon. The only other employer that has more people on the job is Walmart. There are more than 95,500 drivers delivering Amazon packages for the company. Most work for a network of more than 2,200 contractor partner companies. Amazon currently has at least 30,000 vans, 20,000 trailers, and they have an order with Rivian for 100,000 electric vans. It's estimated that the last mile network delivered an estimated 5.1 billion parcels in 2020, which is almost as many as the U.S. Postal Service handles. So I thought those are some interesting statistics to go over since Jeff Bezos has stepped down. Of course, he's still going to be the executive chair, and he'll be able to, weigh in on things about the future of the company. But Andy Jassy is going to take over the day-to-day reins. They gave him a nice $217 million stock portfolio of Amazon stock that vests over the next 10 years. So he's going to be well taken care of. And finally, I also wanted to talk about another milestone that Jeff hit this week. And then I've got one news item, and then we'll take some questions if anybody has questions. But Jeff hit $211 billion in net worth this week. Let's see. It's down a little bit. And of course, it's unrealized because a lot of it is in stock, but that is a huge number. He's absolutely eclipsing the folks who are running behind him. Now, the last thing I wanted to talk about for today was actually something that I think is pretty cool for kids. And I don't know whether or not this platform will take off, but I hope it does. But there is an e-commerce platform called Mighty, and it's where kids can actually operate their own storefronts, kind of like a Shopify for underage kids. But there is the LA-based startup is called Mighty. Invites younger kids to open up a store online, and it's what they do is they actually have things like Printful and a few other platforms where you can create products. So you can actually go out and create a product, have it printed on a t-shirt or a bag or something like that, and have it delivered to the customer. It's going to be I don't know. I think it's a really good idea. I need to pay a little bit more attention to it. I'm not sure if my son is either A, quite old enough, or B, really interested, but they do have plans for several other integrations coming soon where kids might be able to create courses, they might be able to sell digital products and things like that. But if your kid wants to have their own storefront, Mighty might be a place to make it easy and give them the opportunity to learn some skills. So let's go ahead. Let's see if there's any questions. And if not, we'll wrap things up for the day. Let's see here. Did you know that Amazon Canada canceled Prime Day this year? I did hear that Amazon Canada canceled Prime Day this year. I know they're having more trouble with logistics and things like that than even the U.S. platform is having. But I have heard a rumor, and this is just a rumor, that there actually might be a second Prime Day in store for the U.S. marketplace. So not that that helps my friends up north. Let's see here. This is a great question. Is Bezos actually going to come back from the edge of space? Well, if the 200,000 or some folks who signed the change.org petition have anything to say, no, he won't. I don't know. Bezos and the Virgin founder, I can't remember his name off the top of my head, Richard Branson. Richard Branson's going to space this Sunday. Bezos goes to space in a couple of weeks. These guys are absolutely nuts, in my opinion. I'm not sure that I would be willing to be the first person on one of the rockets, even one of the rockets that one of my companies helped create. Seems like an absolute nutball thing to do for billionaires, but I don't know. Maybe they don't have anything else, left going on for them. I hope they both make it back in one piece. I know Richard Branson's wife said that she won't be going to that nut job's funeral. I believe that is an exact quote. If Richard Branson doesn't make it back from space, of course, Jeff isn't married anymore. He's got a girlfriend, but he's not married. So, nobody said anything about him coming back from space. I hope so, though. All right. Thanks, Mac. I appreciate you. All right, guys, we will wrap it up there for this week. Of course, be on the lookout in your inbox for 5 Things Friday. That will be coming out later today. A replay of this will be in there. And, of course, we will be back next week for another round of Coffee with Chris, where we talk a little bit more. Let's see. Here's a good one. Just got hit for 88 product compliance documentations today, mostly toys. What's going on with this? Well, there's no official word from Amazon on the product compliance stuff. They just start hitting people with them. This seems to be the second or third round of this. Michael, shoot me a message and I'll help you with what I can. There's not really a whole lot you can do unless you're buying from wholesalers, getting those CPCs. But maybe there's some other things you can do to kind of work around it for a little bit. And I'll see if I can help you with that or point you in the right direction. Unfortunately, I think this is just something that will probably go away by third quarter. At least I hope. I would imagine Amazon's going to want all of the toys on the shelves for Christmas in Q4. And hopefully they're just trying to get all their ducks in a row. Why it's happening, I'm not sure. Maybe it's the FTC investigation. Maybe maybe Andy Jassy is more of a fan of order on the platform, but it would be nice if Amazon came out and said, hey, this is why we're doing this, and this is, you know, what's going to be happening. That would be awful helpful for sellers who are the ones who they want to provide all this information. All right. On that note, we will wrap it up, guys. Thank you very much for being here. I will see you guys next Friday. And again, please make sure to smash the like button or share this with your favorite Amazon reseller friends, and I would greatly appreciate it. Stay safe, everybody. Have a great week. Wash your hands. Be kind to each other. And as always, good selling.